guys ever seen anything like this before?
I love pork, man. It's sad to see all this, it really is.
Have you ever thought about going vegan?
I thought about it, but like my whole life, since I was little, I've been around a lot of meat.
Oh yeah, me too. I grew up in a small town raising backyard chickens. I cut their heads off. Like, I was there. I know, I think more than most people, how horrible this is because I was a part of it.
I would be willing to go vegan, but I would have to work myself up to have it.
Yeah, for sure. So what would be like holding you back from it? Just like not knowing what to eat, maybe?
Honestly, yeah.
So what do you like eat in a typical day?
Well, I really don't eat a lot of meat. I just eat noodles or pasta.
That's already vegan. There you go. It's a normal human reaction. I think most of us feel pretty bad when we see animals being hurt. Do you guys like eat meat? Yeah. I used to eat meat every day. I raised chickens. I like cut their heads off. Yeah. So this isn't even the meat industry, it's the egg industry, what is on that screen. So just like humans, half of them are born female and half are male. Completely useless to the egg industry because they can't produce eggs. Chickens can actually recognize their siblings within seconds of hatching, and they're separated minutes later. So these boys, they're separated from their siblings, their sisters, and they're thrown alive into a macerator. If it's not that, they're just put into a bag or buried alive. It's because it's the quickest, cheapest form of getting rid of them. So they don't even get a chance. Like, people will say, at least they are born, at least these animals are alive. A few minutes of life isn't alive. Fish belong in the water. When we pull them out, it's like driving. Imagine being underwater in a like scuba mask, whatever, and throwing a hook up on land, getting a dog, and dragging the dog underwater.
Right.
You might laugh, but it's not going to be that funny. When that dog's gasping for air, sucking in water. That's what happens to these fish.
Right.
They're trying so hard to breathe and we're suffocating them with oxygen.
Right.
Would you guys ever consider veganism?
I should.
Yeah. So what makes you like want to consider it?
Because it sounds like a healthier way to go.
For sure. Have you ever thought about getting like meat alternatives, like the vegan sausages or burgers?
I've seen them, but it doesn't taste the same. I would have to get used to it.
Have you tried them or just see them? So you don't know if it tastes the same.
I've tried the sausages because my dad would bring some, and my brother works at a meat company. He packages them and everything. So we mainly get it from him. And he would bring us samples to try out. It just tastes different. The flavor of it.
Yeah, there is different flavors. But the thing is that there's so many options now. There's good and bad ones. Just like with non-vegan products. You can have a cheese like American Classic whatever that's plastic, or the sharp cheddar, and most people are going to prefer the sharp cheddar because it tastes better. It's the same with vegan cheeses. There's ones that are shit plastic cheeses, and then there's ones that are really good, like cashew cheese that taste like creamy like cheese spreads that you would dip crackers in and stuff. Like, they make ones that are perfect for melting over pastas. What about like dairy and eggs? Like cheese? Got some cheese fans or no?
Currently, yeah.
I used to love cheese too. I actually still love cheese because there's amazing vegan cheeses like cashew. But this is the dairy industry. Do you guys know why a cow produces milk?
For the baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like
For
a
the cows.
human
Aren't we
for
the
their
only people
babies.
that drink like another mammal's milk?
We're the only species that drinks milk after infancy, and we're also the only species that drinks milk from another species.
Gotcha.
I don't drink milk.
Yeah, over 70% of the world is actually lactose intolerant. I actually don't really like that term that much. I like to say that people just aren't baby cows.
Right.
And to keep milk production up, they keep doing it year after year after year. These cows in nature should live to about 20 to 25 years old, but because of the harsh conditions we put them in, the physical abuse, the pregnancies, they only live to about 5 to 8 years, and they collapse under their own weight. They're dragged off of the field and then slaughtered.
Sad, depressing reality of life.
Yeah. Do you guys eat like meat, dairy, or eggs?
We do. I mean, I try not to because I have seen these type of videos, and then whenever like
Yeah.
kind of do have like second thoughts, but I mean, I'm still kind of like in the case of like eating it for like my whole life, and it's kind of hard to like.
Yeah, I ate meat for 20 years. Like, I raised backyard hens. Like, I understand where everyone's coming from. We've been sold this lie our whole lives that it's like humane. So the moms, they make it for their babies. What do you think happens to the babies if we're taking the milk?
They're not getting it.
But what happens to them? Where do the babies go? So if it's a female, she's gonna have the same fate as her mother, being raped year after year, having a fish shoved in her body and a tube shoved in her vagina, so she's forcibly impregnated.
Wow.
And her baby's ripped away from her within the first 24 hours to maximize profits for the dairy industry. If it's a baby boy, because they're completely useless to the dairy industry, they don't produce milk. They're actually slaughtered within hours after birth, or they're sold to a veal industry, and they're raised for a few months in a crate off of just some meal, not like their own mom's milk. It's a meal replacement.
Right.
Huh.
You ready?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, here, let me give you guys one of these. It has some information on the back. There's like some documentaries. So like, what do you guys eat in a typical day?
Like today?
Like, what'd you start with breakfast?
Me?
Yeah.
We had cream cheese and bagel, turkey meat this morning.
See, you can make the vegan, the bagel. Most bagels are gonna be vegan. And then cream cheese, like, there's plenty of vegan cream cheeses out there. Miyoko's is one of my favorites.
What do they use? What do they use?
There's many different kinds. There's like coconut, there's cashew, soy, almond, like you name it, anything but this.
Right.
Do you guys actually know why a cow produces milk?
To feed its young.
Yes, exactly. They're just like human. It's for their baby. A lot of people don't know that. Do you know what happens to the babies?
Yeah, I heard about that where they're more like a liability, so they're like, I didn't, in my mind I'm like, well, they could probably, turn them into veal basically, but they kind of throw them away or dispose of them or kill them or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's a female, she's gonna end up in the same situation as her mom, getting forcefully impregnated with a tube and having her baby taken away. If it's a male, because like you said, they're useless, they're not profitable because they don't produce milk, they're actually killed within the first few hours of birth.
Yeah.
Or they're sold to a veal industry and they're raised in crates on a meal supplement, and then they're killed a few short months later. Does that kind of change your thoughts on dairy at all?
It helps me to think about it, Change, yeah, I'm 41, and when from birth till now, it's been okay, so it's probably going to not take 41 years, but like more information to now like say, okay, so I can make an informed decision without, okay, well that really don't make any sense, or this is, or there's other ways, or there's better ways. You know?
Most people are against animal cruelty.
Yeah.
We don't like seeing dogs hit. We don't want to see anyone being hurt. It hurts us when we see others hurt. But we're here because all of us are vegan. Have you heard of that? And we're against the use of animals because we could treat them properly, and in the end, they still get their throats slit, and they're still going into somebody else's body.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like, look up the information for yourself. That's what I did. Like, somebody just gave me a little piece, and once that itch is scratched, you can't stop. I don't know if you know, like, earlier this week, the UN, they stated we have 12 years. By 2030, we have to make a lot of change, or we're going to have irreversible climate change, which means if we don't fix a lot of stuff by 2030, the end of human civilization as we know it will happen in most likely mine or our kids' lifetimes. And having this being one of the biggest contributing factors, having it be a choice 3 times a day, we can really make a difference. It's not going to solve everything. It's not the end-all be-all. We definitely have to change to electric cars, use less plastic, like use energy efficient lighting, stuff like that. But this is one of the biggest things we can do.
Right.
Well, it's one of the smallest things we can do, but it has the biggest impact.
Purify the teeth?
Yeah, so the moms, because they're milked every day beyond what a cow should be milked, they produce more than what they should produce because they're bred that way.
Yeah.
They get these mastitis. It's infections filled with pus. It's actually in your milk, in the cheese.
What does the fire do?
The fire is supposed to clean it off, disinfect it. Yeah. They actually legally allow a certain amount of pus cells. They call it somatic cells, but it's the stuff that erupts on your face if you have a zit. It's pus, and it's allowed in your milk. So the ones that we don't think are humane, they're kept in little cages, few of them in there. The ones that are humane, cage-free, they're in a shed. There's about 50,000 birds in one building. And chickens, they have a pecking order. They can only actually recognize about 200 chickens at a time. So being crammed into that small space with that many birds, it makes it impossible to have a pecking order. They can't recognize each other, and they hurt each other. That's why they actually have to sear their beaks off. They like clip them when they're infants so that they won't hurt each other as much. In the egg industry, half of them are male, half are female. That's how most birds are. And males are completely useless to the egg industry because they can't produce any. So within minutes of birth, they're thrown into a macerator and blended up alive, or they're suffocated in bags, buried. Yeah. Would you guys ever consider going vegan or trying veganism? Yeah.
It is kind of hard, just because, just quick bites like right there, and it's like not vegan.
So let me ask you this: do you think convenience should outweigh someone's life?
It shouldn't, but it's just how we are like that. It is making a convenience, like, okay, well, it's just right there. But I mean, I've tried, I've heard about all this stuff, and I have like tried to cut back a lot in meat, but it's still, and it's like everywhere pretty much, so it's kind of...
Yeah, it is everywhere. I know people think we're shoving it down people's throats. I'm like, Ghirardelli, Hard Rock, we got something over here, probably 5 restaurants up there at least that are all serving animal products. So it's not really that we're like shoving it as much as it's been forced down our throats our whole lives, this lie. I don't know if you guys know, but it's hurting them, but it's also hurting us. 14 out of 15 of our top killers in the US are strongly linked to animal consumption. Do you guys know what is our top killer? It's heart disease. And do you know what causes heart disease? So it's saturated fat and cholesterol. One of the greatest sources of saturated fat is animal products. Actually, the biggest source of saturated fat in the US is cheese. Do you guys know that it's also like harming our planet? Yeah. So like earlier this week, the UN, they stated we have 12 years by the year 2030 or to like fix a lot of things, or we're going to have irreversible catastrophic climate change. Which means like even if everyone in the world went vegan, it still wouldn't be enough. This isn't an end-all be-all situation. We have to do so much more to save this planet, but this is the single smallest thing we can do 3 times a day that will have the biggest positive impact on this planet. I'm gonna go ahead and give you one of these cards. I have like some information on the back here that's like documentaries, YouTube channels that I've seen. What the Health and Cowspiracy are 2 of the best ones on there. They're packed full of information. The main thing I have is the challenge22.com. It gives you a 22-day challenge. It's completely free. There's no like, you have to do a certain thing or whatever. You can do whatever you want. But it's a 22-day challenge because scientists have agreed upon that it takes 21 days to form or break a habit. So we give that extra day to kind of like solidify it in there. And most people, they try it and they feel amazing. There's a huge health aspect to this. Like the animals are hurting, but it's also hurting us. So they notice that. And then a peace of mind, knowing that at every meal, like someone didn't have to suffer for it. And that we're trying to create a better world. Yeah, it's completely free. They have like dietitians and nutritionists, doctors that you can email. They have a group on Facebook.